Uh, Good morning, everyone. I'm gonna be talking about cluster deployment using Juju Charm. So first off, let me start with the question: how experienced are you with Juju? There would be a screen mention. There would be a poll screen which would be, presented before you. Please do select the options. Okay, so let's move ahead. So what is Juju? First off, Juju is an open source application modeling tool. Basically what that means is it allows you to go and, deploy nodes, deploy your applications onto the clusters. So basically, yeah, it will provision the node, it will configure the node, it will go and start the application, it will go and take down the application, it will go and do everything for you. It works on multiple cloud environments. It supports AWS. It supports Google Cloud. It supports Azure. It supports local deployment through LXD clusters. Juju is basically a OpenStack project, so obviously it integrates very well with other OpenStack components. And as I said before, it augments Kubernetes. Uh, it augments Kubernetes. So basically, you'll write your Kubernetes recipes, and Juju will go and deploy them for you. So this is the structure, which is this is the general outline of what happens when you use Juju. So basically, you have a command line interface or a graphic user interface which you use to interact with the controller. The controller is kind of the main management node for the charm, and the controller. A controller can have multiple models inside it. So basically, a model would be something like one cluster running. So if you have like multiple clusters running, you will have multiple models, each controlled by the same controller. So yeah, a controller is the management node. Applications are installed within the models, and they are called charms basically. So so how does Juju relate to HPCC systems? So initial HPCC systems charm was developed by Xiaoming Wang, my mentor for this project. However, the earlier version was not really maintained very well. The Juju charm code got updated. There were changes into the API and everything, which the code did not go and reflect. So so I developed the newer charm along with my mentors Ming and Kevin. The newer version works very well with the current Juju version 2.5, and it can be deployed using a GUI or a bundle. So what are the advantages of deploying through Juju Charm? So deploying, as I said before, it will go and provision the nodes for you. It will go and install the OS. It will go and it will go and install the packages. It will go and start the nodes. It will go and ensure communication is fine. Communication is working fine amongst the nodes and stuff. So yeah, it obviously makes your life easier to go and deploy. So it can be deployed to majority cloud environments without any code changes mostly. So yeah, and it provides a GUI to manage the nodes, which I'll go and come back to later on. So what are the disadvantages? The code is still under development, and we do not really manage persistent storage very well. You can still go and incorporate persistent storage into your charms, but it's going to be difficult to manage it at a larger scale. So let's start with the bundle demo here. So I have, let me just share my screen here. Okay. The screen is now shared. And here I have the Ubuntu node which is going and doing this. So initially, when you use the Juju charm for the first time, you need to go and run the bootstrap command. So Juju bootstrap will create a controller for you. Here in this case, we are going and creating a controller on AWS, and the name of the controller is the AWS controller. I have already done for you. You can see the status using Juju status. So it will go and show the controller, AWS controller. It has been deployed for AWS AP South 1. So then we go and deploy Juju deploy. We go and deploy it through a bundle. I have already created a bundle, and it will go and deploy the charm for you. So as you can see, there are some commands which it's going and executing. Let's just come back to it, once it is done. So in the meantime, let me, as you can see, machines are being allocated and everything. Let me just go back to the slides here for a moment. Yeah. So AWS through charm bundle. So we are going and deploying, multiple layers of the charms can be bundled together using this. So as of now, we have created a layer for, the basic standalone charm. There's one layer for the DALI charm, and there's another level for all other charms, for Shasha, Thor, Roxy, etc. They are all deployed through the same base layer. So this allows us to reduce the amount of code which we need to write. It reduces the redundancy. And it allows us to fine tune the charm quite easily. So we bootstrap a controller already. We have deployed the charm. Now this thing will work fine. So by the time this thing is deploying, let me run through the YAML file which I have used to deploy the charm as of now. So for the standalone charm, as you can see, there's a field for description, which can be anything, which can be, as the name suggests, just a brief description of what it does and what it is. Series is the Ubuntu version which you want to use for the base layer, for the operating system. It can be Bionic, it can be Genial, it can be anything. And services are the charms which you need to go and deploy into the model. So in this case, we are deploying a service called HPCC, and the charm is this CS YDGen open source. This is my private repo which I'm going and using to deploy right now. The number of units is the number of units I want to go and deploy, as the name suggests. Further, we can go and have constraints associated with every single deployment. Constraints can be number of cores, memory, the size of the root disk which is attached, the zone which the charm gets deployed on, etc. So, and as far as exposed is considered, initially whenever you go and deploy the charm by yourself, the charm is not exposed to the public network. So when you go and set this flag to true, it will go and make the charm available for public. So this is another YAML. This is for the cluster deployment. So as you can see, I'm going and launching one Thor node. I'm launching one DALI, one Roxy, one Thor, one support, and one of the master threads. So let me go through them. So this is just the snippet for the top version. So as you can see, it is quite similar to the earlier one. The only difference which we do have here is we go and add relations. So relations would be something like, I have deployed these many charms, now I need to go and connect it to them. So basically Thor should know what the IP of the, DALI, Thor should know the IP of the DALI node, DALI should know IP of the Roxy node and stuff like that. So we have relations between Thor, DALI, DALI support and stuff like that. So after this is there, there's also another way which I'm not gonna be presenting right now. You go and use the command line to go and deploy this. So the command goes something like Juju deployed followed by the build charms followed by the series and the type of the node, and this way. So let me see if the I think the cluster has been deployed. Let me just reshare the screen once again. As you can see from the Juju status command here, the current status, cluster.changed, master.joined, and so everything has, joined the node. So we need to go and start the cluster. So for this, we go and run the HPCC configure script. So this will go and run the, we go and run this and we wait for the results to be shown. So basically when we go and run this, the cluster will go and generate the environment.xml, and every single node will get the copy of the environment.xml into it. So as soon as we went ahead and did this, every single node was automatically stopped. Then the DALI node updated the environment.xml. As you can see, everybody was fetching this thing here, and then finally this has been fetched. Now every single thing is, restarting the nodes. So just wait for a moment. Starting. Yeah, everything is now started. So we can now go and visit these. These are the 3 IPs which we can go and see. So if you go and see the GUI, let me just get started. I think I lost. As you can see, there are multiple nodes which are started here. So this center one is the Dali charm, which we have gone and deployed. This is the master Thor. This is Roxy. Here is the slave Thor, and this is the support node which is connected. Now every single thing is now up. So we go and take the IP for the support node, and we go and visit ECL watch. So the ECL watch is running here. As you can see, there are multiple nodes which are attached to the cluster. If we go to the playground here, we can go and execute the query. As you can see, there are 2 nodes which are coming up. Similarly, now we can, this also integrates with other charms. So you can have MySql. Let's just go and deploy it in the meantime. So in the meantime, we are going to go and, connect. We are going to go and connect this cluster to our MySql deployment. By the time this thing comes up, let me, go back to my slides. And yeah, the slides are now up. So as you can see, we waited for the ready state. Then we can see this thing on the AWS CLI, and we add the relations. Since we are not deploying it through the command line, we don't have to worry about it. So we started the cluster. We ran the HPCC config command. Everything was started. Then we exposed the support node. Since this was deployed through a YAML file, we didn't have to actually go and expose the node. This thing was present in the YAML by itself. So as you can see from the command line interface, there are 5 nodes coming up, and this is the MySql node which we have added right now. So this is the output which we saw earlier. So as you can see, the MySql node has come up here, and we attached it to the Dali node through the GUI. So once that thing is done, we can see the outputs here. Let me see if the final output is available for us. Okay, anyways, as you can see, once that thing is done, we can go and add, using the GUI is quite simple. We just click the nodes and, we just click this, we just click the node and, just drag and drop. That's it. So once we do that, we go and see the output here. The nodes are connected. This command line, this GUI is quite simple to use. This concludes the demo, and let me ask you this. So are you going to use this thing in your work? I mean, so from what you have seen so far, do you seriously think that this thing is something which is worth for you? So please do comment using the poll, and let me know if you have any questions.
All right. So Yash, will you take a moment to review the questions that have come in from the audience? I'm going to review the results from your first poll. So the question was, how experienced are you with Juju? So 92% of you said that you've heard of Juju but have not ever used it. 7% have just started to use it, but unfortunately there are no Juju gods in our audience today. So, all right. Yash, I'm going to go ahead and move to the questions if you're ready.
Yeah.
All right. So here's our first question. Can I deploy this on my own OpenStack cluster?
Yes, you can go and do that. Remember, in this case, we went ahead and bootstrap using the command Juju bootstrap AWS followed by the controller's name. In your case, you'll go and use OpenStack instead of AWS, and that will work perfectly fine for you. It can be deployed on OpenStack, yeah.
Right. Wonderful. All right, so here's our second question. How does Juju differ from Kubernetes?
Juju is quite different from Kubernetes. It goes and augments Kubernetes as such. Basically, when you go and run a Kubernetes recipe, Kubernetes will go and create the charms for you. It won't go and provision the nodes for you. So multiple pods running, and basically you have to go and manage the actual node yourself. You can have 10 machines running, and then you can go and use Kubernetes to go and deploy them, but Kubernetes will not go and run the machine for you. In this case, Juju will go and actually spawn the node for you. It will go and start up the node. It will go and boot everything and schedule everything and whatever, and then it will go and launch the application. So it kind of exceeds Kubernetes domain on that part, on that front. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. All right, here's another question. How do you switch AWS availability zones using the charm bundle?
So basically, for switching the AWS zones, you are in the constraints option which you saw earlier. You can go and have options which will go and say AWS dash cloud type will be this. So it will go and deploy to that specific zone. In this case, this is just a demo. I deployed it on AP South 1, but you can have multiple zones present in your cluster. Sure. So next question.
Thank you. All right, so here's our last question. Is this tool only deployable from a Linux, Unix environment, or can it be used with a different OS?
Can you deploy it through a different environment? See, basically, when you go and deploy it, you can use the GUI to go and deploy it. So, I mean, till the day you can go and visit the particular GUI website, you can, go and deploy any charm which you want. If you wish to say, like, can I deploy HPCC on Windows or something of that sort? No, your Juju does not run on any other nodes. When I meant, it supports multiple operating systems, I meant, it supports different versions of Ubuntu. So it supports, 1604, 1704, whatever. Just, you just need to specify the variant name and it will go and do that for you. I hope that answers the question well.
All right, thank you, Yash. Thank you. All right, before we move to our next presenter, I want to go to Yash's last poll question, which was, could you use this Juju charm in your work? And 72% say yes. So that's fantastic. So Yash, hopefully we'll have more people leveraging this charm. And
Thanks.
We thank you very much for this presentation today, and that was a wonderful, very instructive demo. So thank you.